this is actually a pretty old article that I stumbled across, but I don't see why it's any different today than it was in 2008. It's from a site called Organic Consumers Association, and I know nothing about it and really don't have any interest in finding out, but they gave a list of questions that are supposedly going to let you know if you're a progressive. Well, I already know I'm not, but I figured I'd give it a go and just see how many of these I actually agree with. So it says it might be a progressive if I agree with the following list of statements. You think healthcare is a basic human right and that single-payer national health insurance is a worthwhile reform in our way toward creating a non-profit national healthcare service. Well, I don't. There's no such thing as a basic human right or any kind of right. Rights are determined by societies. There are no rights that are universally recognized. There just aren't. It doesn't matter whether you want there to be. That's just not the way reality works. And I don't think single-payer healthcare is going to actually fix any of the problems that we have with healthcare. So, no. You think that human rights ought always to trump property rights. Well, that depends on what you mean. There really isn't anything here to respond to because it's just too vague. What happens for those who see property rights as a human right? What then? I really can't give any kind of response here, sorry. You think U.S. military spending is an obscene waste of resources and that the only freedom this spending protects is the freedom of economic elites to exploit working people all around the planet. Now, yeah, I do think that we spend too much on the military and we need to cut back. But this has nothing to do with exploiting anyone. The U.S. military doesn't hold a gun to workers in China and force them to work for wages paid by U.S. companies that are far, far higher than the wages they get paid working for Chinese companies alone. That's just stupid. You think U.S. troops should be brought home not only from Afghanistan and Iraq, and I guess back then that was a thing, but today it's really not, but from all 130 countries in which the U.S. has military bases. For some of them, maybe. Not all. No, I agree that the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq were just stupid. We should have gone after the places that actually funded and trained the 9/11 bombers, places like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, our friends. We wasted a ton of time and resources in pointless emotional wars when we should have gone after the real bad guys. Of course, we'll never admit that radical Islam ought to be our primary target, so there's that too. It's just a mess. You think the political leaders who engage in preemptive war and invasions should be brought to trial for crimes against humanity and judged against the standards of international law established at Nuremberg after World War II? Yeah, no. All right, first off, the wars in the Middle East were not preemptive. We were attacked. Secondly, none of it was a crime against humanity. The Nazis in World War II were not brought up in Nuremberg because they went to war, but over little things like, the Holocaust. Ignorance of history is a common thing among the left, and they need to knock it off. You think public education should be free, not just from kindergarten through high school, but as far as a person is willing and able to go. No. These things cost money. None of these things are free. They get paid for by tax money. You have to earn your spot. You don't deserve to be there just because you want to be. You need to perform, and you need to have skin in the game. You either need to work your butt off in high school and get a scholarship, or you need to work your butt off in the real world to earn the money to go, or you need to convince somebody to give you a loan so that you can work your butt off after you graduate. If you're unwilling to work, fuck you. You think that electoral reform should include instant runoff voting, publicly financed elections, easy ballot access for all parties, and proportional representation. Yeah, good luck on that. That will require a constitutional amendment, and that's simply not going to happen. So, yeah, let me know when you get out of your fantasy world and start living in the real one. You think that electoral democracy is not enough and that democracy must also be participatory and extend to the workplace. You people really are delusional, aren't you? Employment is not a democracy. The workers simply do not have the same stake in the business as the owners do. If the business fails, the workers just go somewhere else. The owners are actually out all the time, money, and effort they put into building the business in the first place. Progressives really are stupid, aren't they? You think that strengthening the rights of all workers to unionize and bargain collectively is a useful step toward full economic democracy. And actually, I'm totally against that. I'm against the way unions work today and would like to see the big national unions eliminated. If a single business wants to unionize, that's fine. However, this really casts employment as a war when most successful businesses use it as a partnership. Then again, progressives rarely think that a person has to earn what they get. They think they just deserve it. The entire progressive worldview is just absurd. You think that as a society, we have a collective obligation to provide everyone who's willing and able to work with a job that pays a living wage and offers dignity. Hell no, not a chance. Willingness is no substitute for ability. Just because you're willing to work doesn't mean you have any skills that an employer would be willing to trade money for. And dignity's not something that someone can give you. You gotta develop that on your own. You've gotta earn it. Because dignity is the state or quality of being worthy of respect and honor. Let me know when you're actually worthy. You think that a class system which forces some people to do dirty, dangerous, boring work all the time, while others get to do clean, safe, interesting work all the time, can never deliver social justice. First off, fuck social justice. But secondly, nobody forces people to do dirty, dangerous, boring work. This is another one of those things you have to earn. If you want an exciting job, do well in school, make good life choices, and earn it. It's not that hard. You think that regulating big corporations isn't enough, and that such corporations, if they're allowed to exist at all, must either serve the common good or be put into public receivership. That's communism. Fuck you. Now, if you don't like a big corporation, don't buy their products. It's not hard to figure out. But what you don't have the right to do is to stop them from existing or to take them forcibly away from their legal owners. If you don't like that, go live in... there really aren't any actual communist countries anymore, are there? Go live in North Korea. Go ahead. You think that the legal doctrine granting corporations the same constitutional rights as natural persons is absurd and must be overturned. Yeah, I do think it's become somewhat absurd at least, and it's been extended to such a degree that it just makes no rational sense anymore. Originally, it only applied to fiscal matters, and that a business was a completely separate economic entity from those who ran it, but it's been expanded to a point where it really makes no sense. So I might actually have to agree with this one to a certain degree. You think it's wrong to allow individuals to accumulate wealth without limits and that the highest incomes should be capped well before they begin to threaten community and democracy. No, not at all. People should be able to accumulate as much wealth as they're legally capable of. That's the thing about wealth. One person having it doesn't stop you from having it too. Everyone can be wealthy if they can come up with a way to do so. This is just liberal jealousy. You think that wealth, not just income, should be taxed. Well, how do you measure wealth other than income? Come on back when you have an intelligent answer to that. You think it's crazy to use the Old Testament as a policy guide for the 21st century. Absolutely. It's insane to allow any religion of any kind to set policy in the modern era, and that includes the Quran. So when are you regressive fucks gonna stop supporting Islam? I just might take you a little more seriously when you do. You believe in celebrating diversity while also recognizing that having women and people of color proportionally represented among the class of oppressors is not the goal that we should be aiming for. I really don't give a damn about diversity. This is all about pushing equality of outcome, which is stupid. Give people the opportunity to rise as far as they can rise and stop paying attention to skin color and gender. If the top performers are all black or all white, all male or all female, all gay or all straight, who the hell cares? What difference does it make? You need to earn your spot. This needs to be a meritocracy. Anything else is racist and sexist, and that's what you fucks are. You think that the state has no right to kill and that putting people to death to show that killing is wrong will always be a self-defeating policy. Total bullshit. I'm 100% in favor of the death penalty. In fact, I don't think we use it nearly enough. Now, that doesn't mean we need to do it in a painful or cruel way, but the fact of the matter is, there are some people out there who don't deserve to live. Get rid of them. You think that anyone who desires the reins of power that come with high political office should, by reason of that desire, be seen as unfit for that job. Yeah, to a certain degree, and I've spoken before that I really don't support politicians who want power, influence, and money. I only support them if they want to serve the public good. Politicians need to be seen as public servants, not public leaders. Of course, being unfit to do the job really doesn't stop anyone from voting for them, so good luck actually changing anything. You think that instead of more leaders, we need fewer followers. But that's not really possible, is it? I mean, philosophically, sure, it would be nice if people weren't mindless sheep. But politically? How many people can you put into public office? We've got too many people working for the government already. How many more do you want? Oh, wait. All of them, of course. You think that national borders, while sometimes establishing territories of safety, more often establish territories of exploitation, much like gang turf. Not remotely. National borders are important, and the people of a particular nation have every right, in fact, they have an obligation to keep their land and their people safe from those who have no legal, economic, or ethical reason to be there. You're just wrong. You are open to considering how the privileges you enjoy because of race, class, gender, sexual orientation, and/or physical ability might come at the expense of others. Now, you'd have to show how any of that actually exists in the real world, which progressives obviously can't do. All white people do not have any inherent privilege over all black people. All men are not inherently superior to all women. When you can find a way to prove that the homeless white guy living under the bridge is more privileged than Barack Obama, you make sure you let us know. You believe that voting every few years is a weak form of political participation and that achieving social justice requires concerted efforts before, during, and after elections. Well, yeah, of course. The limits of one's political obligations don't stop at filling out a piece of paper every couple of years. That said, though, if you're talking about activism, it depends on what kind of activism you mean. If you're just sitting around in your safe space whining about the oppression stack, fuck you. I'm fine with you being an activist, so long as your activism is worthwhile. Bawling crocodile tears because you don't like reality is not worthwhile. You think that ideally, no one would have more wealth than they need until everyone has at least as much as they need to live a safe, happy, decent life. No, not at all. Ideally is meaningless. In reality, which is all that matters, people can get as much as they can get, so long as they do so within the law. Everyone is not going to be equal. Some people have more opportunities, more skills, and sometimes more luck. They deserve to reap the benefits of their hard work. If you don't work hard, you don't deserve anything. You recognize that an economic system which requires continuous expansion, destroys the environment, relies on rapidly depleting fossil fuels, exacerbates inequality, and leads to war after war is unsustainable and must be replaced. Score a bonus point if you understand that sticking to the existing system is what's unrealistic. Actually, it's not unsustainable because that's the system that every single successful nation and every single successful culture has ever utilized. Name me one single culture that's been as successful without it. Go ahead. I'll wait. The big guys, the ones that do the best, the ones that produce the most, and the ones that last the longest, those were the ones that are growing and exploiting the resources available to it. Welcome to the real world. Now grow up and live in it. Progressives are idiots. They're emotionally stunted babies who want to live in this fantasy world of their own invention and who cringe whenever the real world gets in their way. They don't care if their ideas are workable, if they make any sense, or if they solve any actual problems. They just want to feel good about the attempt, no matter how ridiculous the attempt actually is. This is idealism over reality, emotion over intellect. They want things that they can't have and demand things that they don't deserve. They've got no actual means of getting from point A to point B, but they won't admit that they have no actual plan. They just want change, and they want it now, no matter how stupid that change actually is. Is it any wonder why people hate the regressive left so much? It's really not a surprise to me.